Labyrinth was pretty much Charles Organs. I have to thank him for that, because Charles Organs was on Labyrinth. You know, you got to remember, this is 1985. So, you know, he hadn't even met the Red Dwarf crew yet. Anyway, so he was choreographing David Bowie, and in, you know, the what was originally called the Wild Things. The Fire Gang were originally called the Wild Things, and a copyright problem forced them to change the name of the characters, and in turn have to change the lyrics of the song, because the song that I had was different lyrics originally, and which is pretty much, if you and that's, I'm going to show you that in a minute as well. The actual cassette, demo cassette of that song, I have it. I have the demo tape of that song.
And is that Bowie singing on that as well?
No, Bowie's singing. Bowie sings all of it. This was before we got it on the gig. When he brought that song to Jim Henson, it was called The Wild Things.
Wow.
You know, it was get down with the wild things, you know, not invited, get down with the Fire Gang, you know, so, you know, everything had to be changed. So, and that's pretty much what we went in to sing, because Charles Organs played one of the characters. Now,
yeah, it was Queeg on Red Dwarf, wasn't he?
That's right. So in the studio that day was a guy called Kevin Armstrong, who was his guitarist for when he started Tin Machine and various other, and I met him sometime later down Portobello Road, where he lived as well. And when we got talking, we realized that, hold on a minute, you was in the studio that day, because he told me he worked on Absolute Beginners. And so basically what happened was, I said, well, hold on, you worked on Absolute Beginners? And he said, yeah, that I was there in the studio when the demos were being done, because we were working on Absolute Beginners while Bowie was working on 2 films at the same time. And so I said, well, I've got a photograph of you then, because I took a photograph of everyone in the studio, and there he was sitting on the floor, you know, in the studio. He was there that day. Wow. And that's where I recorded the Tongue Tied single, at his studio, at Kevin Armstrong's studio. And if you listen to the B-side of Tongue Tied, it's me singing the theme tune, and Kevin Armstrong played every instrument on that track and produced it. And on Tongue Tied, Don E played every instrument on that track and produced it. And they all lived in Ladbroke Grove. And I'd met them all before in different guises. So yes, again, when I got onto Labyrinth, you know, and I walked into the studio, of course, you know, my palms were sweating, you know, as soon as I entered St John's Wood, never mind got to the Abbey Road Studios. You know, my palms were sweating that I was going to go and meet this legend. You know,
there's no one bigger, is there? Really,
there's no one bigger, and to be honest with you, there's no one nicer. You know, he speaks up for everybody. I mean, you know, and I've seen it, but he didn't have to impress me on that level. I was already impressed with him on every level, not artistically, but humanitarianly. All of that stuff, you know, he was already a done deal. And then the first words he said to me made me even respect him even more, because it was all about you, not him. And he said, the first thing he said to me was, you know, hi, I'm, you know, David. He goes, so what's happening on the streets? That's the first thing he said to me. What's happening on the streets? Not, do you want to see the song? Not, you know, you know, it was more like, have a beer. What's happening on the street?
That's a good man. Yeah, well, that's how it should be, though. A good man who's earned his career,
well, you know what it
wants to be around people.
People that are comfortable in their art are comfortable in their skin. and he exhumed, exudes that. It's this, and mate, believe me, you'll never forget being in that room. You will never forget being in that room. Got
a comment from Topping. He now has to explain to his children what a cassette.
A cassette is exactly. Hey, do you know what? I've always been a retro kind of guy.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't know that by now will never know. I mean, I can't look any more retro than this, But again, the thing is that looks all very good, right? But I can tell you now, and I kid you not, and don't think because he's a nice guy that you're going to be going in there, sitting around scratching your nuts, right? Because it's all work. And and he's like Charles Hawkins, right? He's on a train. We ain't stopping at stations. If you want to get on, you jump on, and that's how he works. And your palms are sweating because he's going to give you a harmony. And David Bowie harmonies are not your normal harmonies. They're kind of a bit, left field. And so, you don't want to be the one that's behind. So, and you're cracking on. The last thing you want to be in the studio and be the one jackass that David Bowie's every time you get on goes, oh God, and that wasn't going to be me, baby. That was not going to be me, So that experience, there I am. I'm not only am I recording at Abbey Road Studios, I'm with David Bowie being directed by Jim Henson. I've got Eric Idle sitting in the corner looking on. I've got Zowie behind there looking on. Zowie now, good friends with Robert Llewellyn. Duncan, director of the film Moon.
Amazing film.
There he is sitting there, little kid. And then, then there you are watching his film. It's crazy.